Viewers, here we introduce our next guest also, Mr. Usman Chohan, Dr. Usman Chohan. He is the senior economist, and he is once again here in our studios. Thank you very much, Dr. Usman, for being here. And as Dr. Hasnan is saying, that Iran-Pakistan gas pipeline, once again, a very important project, haunting actually from the last 10 years. And what was the reason why a decade-long pause? And Pakistan, if we have to start this project, do you see any sort of a Western guarantees to Pakistan, or some sort of a waiver to Pakistan, as Pakistan has kick-started the first phase of the IP gas pipeline?
Yes, sir. You've hit the nail on the head by pointing to the Western sanctions. That is the overall cloud cover, which has prevented progress on this for more than a decade. Now, Pakistan is going to seek a waiver. The sanctions intensity has been immense over Iran, and given the current geopolitical climate with conflicts erupting all over the world, the intensity is only likely to remain high. So to persuade the enemies of Iran to give a waiver is not an easy task. But now we have a difficult choice in Pakistan between our indigenous energy requirements and the overall economic architecture. Iran helps with one and America helps with the other. So Pakistan has always wanted reconciliation between the Islamic Republic of Iran and the United States for a reason, because Pakistan wants to have good relations with both. And we are suffering now from the depletion of our indigenous gas reserves, as has been talked about previously. We require gas for our industry and our agriculture and our domestic use. And to be very honest, we have not been very prudent in our use of gas in terms of our domestic energy mix. There was a time, if you recall, 20 years ago, that people would simply let the gas running because there was so much around. So
yeah, definitely, it was. These are the same habits. And when we are talking about that, we are using gas most of the times for the domestic consumer, particularly for heating purpose. So why we are not developing some sort of alternatives for that? Why not we change the construction patterns, or we have more insulations or something like that, so that we can prevent our homes and use the sunlight rather than to be the gas for heating purpose? So why we are not changing our habits?
Excellent point. Excellent point, because gas is just a stopgap for keeping us warm, where in fact there are structural elements, including building designs, including insulation. The way we live, the way we build our houses is a much deeper problem with multi-generational impacts. And the adoption of solar has been quite robust over the last decade in Pakistan, and that's because the international cost curve for solar panel and other photovoltaic technologies is declining exponentially. So it's a very positive sign. But even then, regulations and other factors impeding wider adoption in Pakistan exist. So I, for example, am a strong believer that since the early stage materials of solar and photovoltaic technology can be sourced here and can be built here, we have to work towards local development of these things, and it's a very easy area for public-private partnership to exist. And we are a sunny country in terms of the sunlight, the number of days and the intensity we get for most of Pakistan. I think it's a very natural way to do that for many energy usages, except for the most intensive ones, which are industrial and agricultural.
Okay. Your point well taken, Dr. Usman. When we are talking about the gas consumption, no doubt about it that we have to change our habits as a nation when we are consuming gas. Along with that, otherwise government has to give some sort of an alternative on that. But what about the Pakistani consumers' hardships and the industrialists' hardships and the people who are working over there? Whether West realizing that, and especially the US, as Pakistan is going to get some sort of a relaxation or a waiver from the US, particularly on the Iranian sanctions related to the Iran-Pakistan gas pipeline, because it is important. And just yesterday the State Department has a briefing, and during that briefing there was a question asked on Iran-Pakistan gas pipeline, but the answer was in between the lines. So how do you see it, whether there is some relaxation in future or that relaxation is given already?
A very profound point you have made, because the consumer here has been struggling, and it's not just about the generation of electricity, but also because of the transmission, getting things onto the grid. That's why solar, for example, has strong advantages because it is on site. And similarly, local dams, small-scale dams, micro dams have a huge advantage because they're on site. So the energy mix factors do help when they're localized rather than have a long chain. A long chain in this case with gas means you start in another country, either LNG or a pipe coming across, which has its own disruptive risks. Now, the industrialists in Pakistan have suffered a lot since 2022, and they have articulated the case for having more robust energy supplies that are cheaper so that they are cost competitive, because on the input side, it becomes too expensive for them to then be able to compete on world markets against competitors whose energy is subsidized or virtually free, for example, in China or in other countries. So energy being a big factor in their input costs makes it very hard for them to be competitive. And then your other deep, profound observation was that does the West, particularly the United States, care about the energy disruptions and the pain that consumers feel in other countries? And the truth is they don't. And you don't just see the reflection of that in Asia, but you've seen that in Europe with the Nord Stream and all that.
Yeah, definitely.
They would be happy to see the consumers in Europe go to hell in a handbasket as long as geopolitical interests of theirs are temporarily served, because they also perhaps haven't thought through the end game on what they want for the protection of Europe.
It is really unfortunate on the part of Western powers particularly, and in particular United States. We are talking about the Iranian cooperation with Pakistan. Iran has just extended the deadline, which was supposed to end in March, and that is now extended to 180 days till September 2024. Though it's a very short time to construct the 80-kilometer gas pipeline, but anyway, it was at least extended. And how do you see that after the 16th January episode, when Iranian missile hit two of the territories in Balochistan, Pakistan? So after that, we have seen that now the bilateral cooperation at its best, and it is robust now. And Iran has given this much of the cooperation with Pakistan and extended a lot more. So how do you see it bilaterally?
It's very interesting to see it in light of some ruptures that happened recently, because the global geopolitical temperature is heating up, and Iran is privy and party to a lot of those tensions. Therefore, it has been trying to test the waters in its own region and see where it can get away with what it can. Now, you shouldn't try that with Pakistan. Many countries have learned that the hard way. And now Iran also, thanks to the quick and decisive action by the Pakistan Air Force, which has always served its nation with excellence.
Don't ever consider us weaker, because as apparently we are looking, but we are not actually.
Yes, and the truth is that Pakistan and Iran are brothers, and sometimes
No
brothers...
doubt about it.
Brothers do fight. Now, in a brotherly fashion, we should continue with the longer scheme of mutual prosperity.
But definitely the brothers love each other a lot, and we have lots of affections with Iran as well. Such an important projects like Iran-Pakistan gas pipeline, TAPI, and all other projects which are going to be a win-win situation for Pakistan. Ultimately, we have to focus upon economy, our energy needs, along with that the security and all that. So how do you see that, how much political will is important, how much peace in the country and sustainable growth emphasis is important, how much we have to put all focuses on economy is important, and how much it is important that we have to move along as a nation to attain these objectives?
You've put it very well, that economy is the priority. And economy does not mean just growth rates, it also means the inclusivity, so all the people gain from
absolutely
it.
Right.
It also means sustainability, so you can burn through all your reserves in 1 year and then struggle the next. No, we want to have it paced out over generations. So sustainability and inclusivity with economic focus, I think, is the most important. Many countries are struggling with the security logic and economy logic competing, the United States, for example, but we need to have them of one mind, coordinated and synergized, because the prosperity, inclusivity, and sustainability, all principles must be addressed simultaneously, and major projects like the Iran-Pakistan pipeline or TAPI are a key factor in that.
Definitely. Dr. Usman, thank you very much for your presence in the studios. Thank you very much for your views. Thank you very much, Dr. Hasnan Javed, for being with us online. Thank you very much for your very candid and very elaborative views. Viewers, as you have listened to our panelists, they are focusing, they are stressing upon that political cohesion is a must to grow. Political will is very important. We have to, as a nation, we have to unite ourselves as a single platform to attain economic objectives, particularly the energy production and energy needs in the country. As our panelists suggested, it is important that pertaining to the rising energy and particularly the gas demands in the country, we have to enhance our, whether it's offshore or onshore, the production to at least 5,000 billion cubic meters. It is important that we have to enhance projects like Iran-Pakistan gas pipeline and Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, India gas pipeline. That is very important. Pakistan's local gas production, on the other hand, are decreasing, and on the vice versa, Pakistan is importing a lot from abroad. And in such a circumstances, Pakistan needs reliable, sustainable, and particularly slightly cheaper natural gas for its economy, for agriculture, and for the consumption of our local domestic consumer. So what would be more than beneficial than the Iranian gas? So this is all from today's Foresight. It's time to sign off. Allah Hafiz.